Hello, I'm Alan Davies. You're listening to the Tuesday Club. This is the Arsenal podcast, and I've got Oliver Scott with me here this morning. How are you, Oliver?
I'm all right, Alan. How are you?
Oliver's raising the cultural tone.
Thank you. I'm wearing a tie.
And by wearing a tie. And not wearing a tie.
Keeping it well down, Marcus.
It's Ty Popoola. How are you, T?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, man.
Soho radio cap.
I was gonna
in
not wear.
situ.
I was gonna wear not a hat in protest today.
Really? That bad?
I was feeling that.
I'm talking to you. I'm slightly distracted because I'm assembling my cut-out Arsene Wenger. Which, I don't know if anyone was at the Emirates last night for the debacle against Monaco, but if you bought the matchday programme, you got a pop-out, stand-up, cardboard Arsene Wenger figure.
What other club would think of that?
And I have been racking my brains trying to think of a great manager, past or present, who would have accepted or allowed such a thing to happen. I can only think that, I mean, looking at him now, we will post a photo of him on the Twitter feed. I can only think that Wenger didn't know that the programme was going to include a pop-out, stand-up, cardboard Arsene Wenger figure.
It's
But on the night when you are humiliated
it's taller than Santi Cazorla.
by Monaco, yeah, it's life size. So Big Simon was there last night. It's unusual to see him, and then he did say, "Does it come with a zip-up coat?" I thought was a reasonable question. And then Keith went into quite a long rant about other managers they might do, pop out Harry Redknapp with loads of cash coming out of his pockets, and pop out Jose Mourinho poking, and pop out Tito Villanova in the eye. But yeah, it's about 8 inches tall. It's got a little cardboard base. It's a picture of Arsene in a fine bespoke suit, smiling, with his hands on his hips, ready for the post-match press conference. And it fell out the matchday programme. And really, Bill Shankly, I don't think, George Graham, I can't imagine, Don Revie, you must be joking, Brian Clough, really... I started to think about it, and I thought, is this it now? This is really the cult of the manager at our club, and he's a great manager and he's a great man. But we watched last night a repetition. It's like watching a record going round and round on a turntable, and the needle's just bumping against the middle now. We have got to the end of the LP, and no one can take it off the turntable. Because, I mean, really, if you're the Monaco coach, I didn't even know he was the bloke, I'd never heard of him. But if you're that guy, you think, how are we going to beat Arsenal? Well, let's get a few DVDs of how people have beaten them in the last few years, because they will play exactly the same way. And they make the same. Just keep it nice and tight, and then they'll give you a chance.
Get through the first 10 minutes. Get through the first 7 minutes where the crowd will... Because last time we had a 7-minute burst, as you remember, was Manchester United.
Yes, I do remember. And we all had flags. Had flags, and then Tottenham fans had a lot of fun on the internet.
And why wouldn't you?
And saying, for sale, 60,000 flags only used for 7 minutes.
And we had a 7-minute burst last night where Welbeck missed after 2 minutes.
Welbeck, I thought he was going to score there. He got in and just blazed it over the bar.
Lovely turn. I mean, I think I read this morning that the left back was 17, second or third game.
Yeah, they were under strength, Monaco. They were under strength, players missing, right back playing in centre midfield and all this sort of thing. And they were expecting a proper chasing off the Arsenal.
A bit like us in 2006 in the Champions League, actually, come to think of it, with a makeshift back.
The thing is, when you're under strength, you know what you're going to do. Everyone's going to help each other out, especially help the kids, back each other up, work together and see if we can get out of here with something.
And when you're
That's all. They knew what their plan was.
When you're under strength, you know what Arsenal are going to do as well, like you said. So we had that chance. I think Gibbs put one in almost straight away, and then Sanchez had a chance. Is that right? Local Cazorla had a chance. So that was us. That was 7 minutes.
Giroud had a poke, didn't he? He had one of his first 5 or 6 misses in the first half.
We'll come to it.
Hector pinged one into him, and he stabbed it wide, and it brought back memories of his early games for the Arsenal. I couldn't understand Giroud. Let's start with Giroud. I couldn't really understand what was happening with him, because I felt as though everything had been going so well of late. Chances have been going in left, right and centre quite comfortably. A couple of goals against Middlesbrough just stroked in effortlessly, with his left foot, as opposed to the 2 that fell on his right foot last night. But the goal against Palace was on his right, wasn't it? And he just stabbed that in. Or was it his left? I can't remember. Anyway, he stabbed it in easily, didn't he? No trouble.
But do you not think? I mean, it was obviously his.
Is it in his head that it was a French opposition? It was a big game in France that they knew him from his time in League.
He's not the most comfortable. It was his week to do the.
It's your time, Olivier.
But it was his week to do the interviews and so on. So you're always a little bit uneasy. I mean, the interview that he did before, and it sits a little bit uneasy whenever anyone starts picking themselves up. I mean, Nasri made a fool of himself doing exactly the same thing.
We're not afraid of Barcelona.
Right.
Well, you should be.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So it was kind of his week. He's a kind of unwelcome. He doesn't enjoy the spotlight as some might, despite his looks and the rest of it. So he's doing a lot of talking beforehand. It's in France. I mean, it's against French team.
No, I missed all this. What did he say?
He was saying, he was stung. He's stung when he hears criticism of that Arsenal don't have a great striker, and he was picking himself up, or at least defending himself.
Or was he just answering questions?
That too, but as I say, it's his time and it's his week to do the Champions League kind of.
It's probably a bit
stuff
like
that he has to do the press stuff. So he's talking, right? You don't want him to talk. You just want to get on with it. So he's talking. He's got a Monaco, a team that know him well. He's playing. He's got the eyes of a nation that he knows, who's trying to impress. And maybe all that got into his head because that was a very, very public kind of meltdown and very old school Giroud on the biggest stage.
A bit like Ozil against Bayern Munich last year. The same sort of pressure. He took that penalty, didn't he? And it's like you just feel like, oh, you're the German guy against the German team. Maybe the pressure is just, you need to kind of have a bit of perspective, which he obviously doesn't seem to.
What you also need to have, which is another thing, which we were talking about this last night, is that you need to have a lot more balls about you than to actually be able to soak up that kind of pressure and to have that.
Well, tell you what though, T, the first one goes in, he gets a hat trick last night. Yeah. I feel that there's a fragility about him.
Yeah.
When it doesn't go well, it suddenly starts to doubt himself. And then the misses just got worse and worse. Yeah. And the first two were half chances, really. One fell quickly on his right foot and he got it towards the goal but wide. The next one was a sort of a volley chance. Didn't show enough ambition to really get there.
I got really annoyed about the header.
The ones in the second half were bizarre.
That header was
a beautiful ball in from Cazorla. He's got up, he's there, he's not. There's a free header. He must have done this 1,000 times in training sessions in his career, probably since he was 15.
Yeah.
Just glance that across, just glance it, and you might go over the bar, it might drift wide.
It was horribly wide.
He got much too much of a contact and put it 15 yards out in the wrong direction. I mean, weirdly. And you think, oh, no. And he really, you could see Ozil and Cazorla furious.
Yeah, well.
Ozil makes a big display of discontent when anyone else makes a mistake, which is not a great characteristic. And they were livid, because there it is for you. There's your goal. And then the one that he put over the bar from 6 yards, he just snatched at that. And to get hooked after an hour by the French manager on French TV, playing against the French team after you've had French media questions all week. I don't know where he is tonight, under his bed probably. I mean, that all went wrong. The edifice of Giroud collapsed. It was like a building coming down in front of us that is carefully... And they've nurtured him through the last 2 seasons with this fragile, nervous man, despite his robustness and his physical perfection and his enormous penis. They have nurtured him through and helped him like a little child to the point where you are the number 9 at Arsenal. You are first choice. You're ahead of Podolski, who's been loaned out. You're ahead of Sonogo. You've sold everyone else.
You're making Welbeck play.
Danny Welbeck's been pushed wide. Sanchez can't do it. You are the man. You are the man. We've always thought of you as a 7 out of 10 centre-forward, but you have worked your way up to an 8, and you are not missing anything now. And you got your 50th goal in 100 and something games, and the last 20 have come in 25s. I mean, he's free scoring and confident, and he just collapsed in front of us in a way that was alarming. And got hooked with half an hour to go.
But don't you think that is very much, we talked about the fragility before, but that is very much a characteristic of most of the Arsene Wenger type player. I mean, I was saying this to you a lot yesterday. It's something that's been staying with me for a little bit. This fragility is always there. Someone said to me this morning that Ozil has no doubt cried at least once a week in the showers since he's come to Arsenal. The kind of player who on the big stage fall apart. This doesn't happen to Chelsea players. This doesn't happen to Man City players. It happens to Arsenal players all the time.
Not sure that's right about Ozil. I think Ozil wanted the ball all night. He wanted the ball all night long. He got on the ball
Didn't get
all
much
night
movement
long.
in front of him.
He's trying all night long. Him and Cazorla, they both wanted it all night. They were looking for the ball all night. They wanted to do it. These are top draw players. This is the highest level in club football, and they wanted to do it on the night. And they looked up and there's a forest of blue shirts. Here's a team who really, they've let in 1 goal in 6. Their whole raison d'etre, that's French, is to not concede and get off the field at the end of the game. You start with a point, the old Don Howe, and they couldn't find a way through.
That's true. I mean, they were fantastic. I mean, they were huge as well. I mean, we'll get on to Kondogbia. Holy moly!
About 5 minutes in, boom! I'd be looking in my programme. Stoney's going to me, don't know why you buy that rubbish. I said, because I like to know who we're playing against. And look at that kid, bang! He's won it again. And then I read in the paper, and I read the old bollocks in the entrance hall of the Tube, and it said Kondogbia won the ball back 13 times more than any other player. He's big, he's strong, he's 6'2" or something, he can pass it. And all last summer we were talking about we need someone big, strong, powerful and centre mid, and his name came up. We'd never heard of him. He was at Seville last year. We'd never heard of him. 5 minutes in, we thought, who's that? And it turned out, we were laughing about it afterwards. When they won the World Cup, the Under-20 World Cup, in that tournament, he dovetailed neatly. We like that phrase.
Always.
He dovetailed neatly with the already legendary Paul Pogba, who's got an £80 million buyout.
He'll spend his life almost not playing for Arsenal.
Yeah, he's the one.
Entire career.
It's like A-list Comet. He'll come round every now and then, like Raphael Varane, the ones who should have been at Arsenal.
Villa.
They come, there he goes again, there's Pogba, 80 million.
At what point before the end of 2015 are we going to hear we've known about him for some time? We've known about him for some time.
We knew about Angel Di Maria, Petr Ibrahimovic, Yaya Toure, Cristiano Ronaldo. We signed Nicholas Bentner, Denilson, Carlos Vela, Giroud, Senderos, Eboué. We knew about those teenagers, and we signed those teenagers.
Petr Cech, Alex Manninger.
Hey, no, Manninger's all right. But he really did have a meltdown in the showers. He really didn't have he wasn't stable.
But I guess I'm talking kind of generally about the kind of players in the kind of occasion that we seem to have.
Well, listen, what I think is this, right? I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. When the going gets tough, our lot look at the grass and can't wait to get off. And that's the general feeling in the last 15 minutes last night was, come on, you've got to get a goal here or we're going out. It's not even half time yet. I know you're 2 down, but it's not yet even half time in the tie. So stop looking at the ground and feeling sorry for yourselves. Get after that ball and try and get one. And they did, and then they blew it again. But the thing was, they didn't go at it with their normal pace and gung-ho, and the passing was too slow, and you're thinking, what's going on? And they seemed nervous about conceding. And then they did concede anyway. Kondogbia blasted one. I mean, what a hit that was.
No one closed it down.
He had acres of space around him. We could see he was lining up to shoot about 5 minutes before he detonated it, and he aimed basically for the centre of the goal. I think it would have gone through Ospina's head and left a cartoon football-sized hole in him. Until Mertesacker...
As opposed to the cartoon footballness of Ospina in the first place.
It's a bizarre goal, isn't it? Because it's going towards Mertesacker. Now, either head that... get in the way of that, or get out of the way of it. And he couldn't, it seemed to me, decide. And there's always been a little question mark.
Steve Bruce breaks his nose again.
You have got to head that ball. You must. You've got to put your head in the way of that ball. You're 6'6", it's coming straight at you. Or just put your hand up and take a yellow. But do not let it flick off your shoulder. We cannot concede in this game. We cannot. It's going to be almost impossible to score in this match. You've got to get in the way of that, or get out of the way. It was a weird one. So he sort of half got out of the way, it flipped off his shoulder, and then Ospina sat on his arse. I thought, even as it's changing direction,
Al Jolson, didn't it?
Throw a little arm out.
When you're smiling.
And it went right in the middle of the goal.
He didn't move at all.
I never like it. I never like it when a goalie just falls backwards. Do you know what I mean? You know that one when they just got their hands out like that? It never kind of looks right. It's harsh and it's an aesthetic thing, and I'm just being a dick. But those kind of things bother me.
It bothered me that it wasn't even a sort of an arm thrown out to try. Anyway.
A token.
It was deflected past him. It was a nightmare moment. But it's a preventable goal because you can stop the guy shooting.
Even then, it's 1-0, right? So why 10 minutes in the second half? are we
picked off on the break?
That's the kind of goal that that Man United get against us in the 87th minute when we're chasing it. It's 1-0. It's a quarter of a way through the tie.
Yeah.
We're 10 minutes into the second half.
This is a 3-hour football match.
Sanchez has lost the ball down on the right. He's chased back. Purr's come up to try and intercept it, and he's out on the right wing.
Yeah, and then we're 2 against 1.
And one of the one is Berbatov.
Yeah.
Keith could have got out the stand. Keith could have got out the stand, got on the pitch, right, and caught him up. I reckon. And I think he wanted to when
crossed his mind.
When the ball went in. It was if you're going to take anything from the game, I mean, to get back to an incandescent Dover is something to behold. Him and Simon behind.
But how we can? Oh, I don't know.
But that second one was
crap record myself. Come on, you can't get picked off on the break. And like you say, it's early in the tie. We're only 1 down. They've had a deflected shot. They've had a bit of luck. We need to pick our game up, get out of this with at least a 1-1. 1-1's all right. That means you have to win in Monaco. That's not a catastrophe because they're nothing special.
It's almost like they decided to take their time. No, it's the Champions League. We'll take our time, so we're going to pass it around the back. Taking their time, mistaking that for playing too slowly. Right, that's what we're doing in the first half. And then reverted to proper head losing it moment. Reverted back to kind of old school Arsenal chasing the game again. Who's making them stop?
Do you hear
who's coming out? What's the manager?
You hear the manager saying, "Oh, we didn't defend with our brains. We played with our hearts. Or we were naive." And oh, come on, Arsenal, you send them out there, mate. They're your team, and they keep making these same errors and getting caught out high up the pitch and getting exposed on the break. And we've seen it so many times. You've got to address this. I mean, really, Monaco, it was always going to be cagey. Yeah. And they've got to know, have they had a team meeting where they say, no, in the event that it's 0-1.
Yeah, this is what you do.
It's the first half, okay? Don't panic, don't go mad, don't get caught. If 2-0 is bad, 1-0 is okay.
That conversation never happened.
Almost
definitely.
We talked about it after the game. You feel as though, still, even now, that we think that we are going to boss every game. And we go out to get the ball and play regardless of the opposition. And you have to have a plan for a team that's going to stifle you in their own half.
One of the reasons why, I mean, Cazorla was absolutely shattered by the end. And, I mean, the midfield that we set up with yesterday, I mean, literally was dwarfed by them because we talked about how huge they were. Yeah. We couldn't get hold of the ball. We couldn't find any kind of space. Well, it's the first time we've had the ball that much for a while as well because they came to play how we've decided to start playing against people, and we were at home, and the crowd are baying, as it were, for goals, and they kind of soaked it up. But and Cazorla and so on was just buffeted. Do you know what I mean? They couldn't compete with them physically,
yeah.
And there was a real problem.
Well, it went their way. It went the way they wanted it to go, didn't it? Basically, that's how they wanted it to pan out.
They had I mean, before Giroud started missing, and maybe that contributed to it. The centre half completely had his number.
He's the striker. You're going to get
every layoff went off.
You're going to get no opportunities to score, and in that game he had about 4. You must
6.
You must. The only thing we know about the Champions League is 2 rules of Champions League. Right? There are 2 rules. These are the rules.
Here we are.
They're not borrowed from Fight Club. No mistakes. Take your chances. They're the 2 rules of Champions League. You cannot make a mistake because if you make a mistake, you'll concede a goal. You must take your chances. Because they are few and far between.
What was the atmosphere?
If you do those 2 things, you'll go through. Sorry, Ollie.
What was the atmosphere like after Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain scored his goal? Because you could see. I mean, that was the pivotal moment.
Well, what had happened was the 4-minute board had just gone up.
Right.
And so we knew that there's a 4-minute window here and we could get 2-2.
Yeah.
But there seemed to be no one on our team who thought, equally, there's a 4-minute window here and we could get 1-3.
Well, I thought
half of the team need to be thinking about 1-2 and half the team need to think about 2-2.
What were they doing? Like, are they in the centre circle? Was someone there? Was Wenger shouting?
Wenger sat down the whole game.
Oxlade-Chamberlain's kind of.
Did he run and get the ball and bring it back?
Yes,
no,
he did.
It looked like he did.
He went off and then did he do the Ox? Did David Platt?
The Ox went for the ball.
Like,
the Ox was pumped. You know, they wanted the equaliser. We got 4 minutes. It's half time.
But immediately, then this is because I thought it was going to be back to Champions League and kind of boxing clever, street tough Monaco, immediately there was a really rubbish foul. I can't remember who gave it away. So you think, right, we're going to have those 4 really disjointed minutes. You know, like when we were 2-0 up against Bayern, and they just killed the game dead. Like almost every other team in world football does, apart from
Barcelona at the Etihad, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah. Tap fall over. So it was a really kind of messy foul, which took time. So I was just thinking, let's just get out of here with 2-1. But then Ospina did one kind of big throw out to, I think that's what, to Oxlade-Chamberlain, who'd already given the ball away a couple of times. So everyone's kind of pumped. You think that's what we do. We get 2 in a hurry.
The Ox got it caught under his feet, and this is an urgent business call for Oliver Scott.
No.
The Ox got it caught under his feet and lost possession. But it's still 70 yards from Ospina at that point.
Yeah, no, it was quite far.
But they brought on this streaky striker who's building a bit of a name for himself.
And he's their best
with the sole intention of doing exactly what he did, which was Arsenal likely to push up, and there are going to be opportunities in behind.
In the 93rd minute,
and he got through twice.
Yeah, you knew.
First one, he hit it straight at Ospina, and the second one, he drilled it in off the far post. I mean, he smashed that in, and ouch. And the Ox was distraught.
Inconsolable, yeah.
Inconsolable. You'd think he'd just lost the FA Cup final in the last minute. Lying on his back, but the game's still going on. They're all going back for the kick-off, rolling around the pitch. He went off afterwards with his shirt up over his face. And I know he cares. Right? I was very fortunate to be invited to the screening of the Invincibles documentary, and how they ended up having to screen that immediately after that debacle. It made it even worse. But I went along there Monday, and some of the ex-players were there, and it was a really, really great night. But the only one in the current team who turned up was the Ox. The Ox turned up, gets a big greeting, big warm greeting off Sol Campbell, you know, and he wants to me, he wants to know about it. That kid, he wants to know about Arsenal. He wants, because you have to think, you know, they were at school, you know, this was going on down in Southampton or wherever he grew up. He wants to know about Arsenal. He wants to know about the history of the club. He wants to be part of it. He takes it seriously. And he'd scored a fantastic goal when he came on. It was a brilliant hit from the edge of the box. And then it broke his heart, more than any other player, I think, to be the one who lost possession and saw that kid streaking away from him towards Ospina and smashing it in off the far post.
Right down our sight line.
Absolutely killed him.
Absolutely in front of us.
I don't know.
But it was, I mean, Stoney said this morning and we said last night, it is about the most Arsenal thing that could have happened, that third goal. We just got back into it.
I mean, what? I don't even know anymore. I don't know. I feel like there's a restraint around the technical area with the coaches, the substitutes, that's led by Arsene. There's a in lieu of calm, what actually there is a lack of encouragement or support. This kind of leave them, they're grown-ups, they don't need their minds muddled, let them get on with it. He sits there quietly. The only time he gets up is to have a go at the fourth official. It was so much so that we were joking yesterday that in the next match programme there'll be a pop-out fourth official, and then you can have your own Arsene Wenger fourth official rouse, you know, in the kind of in a Emirates Stadium puppet theatre that you can build yourself.
Think about that. For someone who goes on about the calm all the time, what does it look like having if all they ever see of Arsene...
It's all they ever see is him doing that.
Is him berating the fourth official.
Stevie Bold's barely ever on his feet. He only stands up to summon a substitute from the other end of the stadium.
Isn't that kind of counterproductive in terms
when of... When Monaco's third goal went in, their whole bench went up. The technical area must have had about 40 people in it. The manager's punching the air, the coaches are punching the air, all the subs have come off. There's 7 subs, there's squad players, physios, doctors, I don't know, you know, Prince Albert, everybody.
He was in that
technical area. Their whole team came over. They're jumping on one another because they knew that was a massive moment in the tie, and they all celebrated together. And I thought, wow, you never see that with our boys. Sometimes... You know, the only time we ever see it is if one of our players comes back from a long-term injury, scores a goal, and runs over to Tony Colbert. Right? That's the only time. Or if Henri scores and goes past and high-fives Wenger in a slightly awkward...
But you know, the whole thing...
awkward way.
The whole thing with this is like, you know, you look at Crystal Palace last week, and and you look at Stoke and all that sort of those classic sort of teams, and they have this hive mentality, don't they, where it's like they've got one purpose, they've got one goal, which is to play in a certain way, and the manager dictates that, and they all do that thing, and they all know exactly where they are in that thing. They all play in the same way, no matter what position they're in. And treating these players like adults is getting us nowhere. That's the problem. It's like you could imagine that it's just it's like if you go to John Lewis, everyone knows how to behave.
But
it's like a workplace.
You could also argue that our team plays exactly in the Arsene has tried to play the same way for as long as
I like hive mentality.
Yeah.
I like that. I want to hear more about hive mentality.
Well, I was about to say that's why he's into that.
That's why you're here.
Well, yeah. So I suppose what you would say is you'd say, right, if you set your whole team up to play in a certain way, everybody's playing for each other. So you look at Crystal Palace, it's like they've all drilled within an inch of their lives. Wherever they are on the pitch, from goalkeeper to striker, they all have one common purpose that they all basically adhere to, and there'll be a set of behaviours that they inculcate with those players.
That's like inculcate.
It's like this is their. I place an arm on you. This is their vision. Their mission is to like right. Our vision is we're going to play this way. Our mission is this is how we're going to achieve those things. Everybody knows where they are. Everyone knows what's going on. It's led by a strong manager who's got the personality to basically strike the fear of God into these people. And, Arsene obviously doesn't have the personality to impose that will upon the players, as this is the way you're all basically going to behave. Or he hasn't got the tactics, because it's, when I was watching it last night and you see that goal go in and you've 4 minutes left and you're just like, and I saw Oxlade-Chamberlain tear up the pitch with the ball to make the kickoff. And you're just like, no, surely there's somebody. Where's the person in the team saying, no, we don't do that? Wenger's told us if it's tight, with 1-0 to 1 or whatever, don't play like that. They just all like headless chickens.
You can see Simeone coming out at that point, giving it the big, the hands down,
the calm down,
chill the cow kind of movement, and that
they thought they could get 2-2. They thought they could get 2-2 in stoppage time. Yeah, the Ox was pumped. He scored. He wanted the ball. Get it back to halfway. Let's go again.
You've got to know immediately.
And then
there's a bigger
in that
danger.
state, they lost possession and conceded. I mean, really embarrassing. I mean, it's like dropping your guard. Like you've got him. You've knocked him down. He's been counted to 8. Then you go wading in, and he just punches you in the face. One hit. Nigel Benn. Do you remember that fight? I can't remember. The opponent was an absolute nobody. Nigel Benn was on the way up. And there's a ginger lad. He's a white. He was a white kid. As Andy Linden, my boxing loving friend, says, never back the white man. And he came out and he was just throwing his gloves around, and Ben just looked at him. I mean, he didn't even have his guard up, and then just punched him in the face. And turned, walked around, and sat down. One punch. Boom! You almost heard it. Well, that was a bit like that. Sucker punch.
I would have backed Steve Collins back in the day.
What are we going to do? How are we going to... I don't even know. Everyone knows how we play. Everyone knows how to stop it, or try to stop it at least. Yeah. We need a blizzard of fast passing to get through a forest of men like that. And we didn't have the pace of passing, but crucially, we missed all our chances. We missed all of our chances. We haven't got an Ian Wright in there. When Welbeck plays that one over, you're thinking with Wrighty, that's a goal. There's nobody in there who's a ruthless, lethal striker. And you have to have that.
Theo came in and hid.
Suarez, lethal.
Yeah. Theo came in and hid right down where Silent Chris sits. just inhabited.
Theo's sort of game now seems to be solely consists of trying to make a run to beat the offside trap, and someone's got to hit me with a miracle pass.
Yeah. Which at the moment, because his touch isn't, because he's still kind of coming back.
He's got no confidence in his game.
Vizicki hit him with one of those against Spurs, which he should have done better with. Then.
He nearly got in a couple of times, but that's now Theo. It's now Theo nearly got in. It's not unlucky Theo anymore. It's Theo, he nearly got in a couple of times. Yeah. And people, someone tweeted me the other day, going, some game he played, we only had 9 touches. And I was saying we didn't need a lot of touches if 3 of them are goals.
I mean, Welbeck didn't do anything when he went up front either.
Welbeck disappeared second half, but we need someone lethal. We need someone... When the chance comes, bang, it's a goal. Cavani, Suarez, lethal, Aguero, bang, goal. It's not going to happen. Oh, bad luck.
It's not going to happen now because he's spent 30 million on strikers in the last 2 seasons, and Arsene Wenger is not the kind of manager who very quickly rectifies his mistakes.
Sanchez has picked a bad period to go off the boil, and he was coming so deep looking for the ball. Him and Ozil, Sanchez, Cazorla, these are grown-ups. These are proper footballers. They could play for any team in the world. This is serious talent. and they're all coming deep to get the ball to try and get out of the way of this forest of Monaco.
Sanchez
players.
is really trying to play himself back in to the detriment at times, because he doesn't let go of the ball, because he obviously backs himself and he's trying to play his way out of this really dodgy patch, as opposed to like when Wenger said to Ramsey, just lay it off, get used to the game again. You hear that quite a lot with players coming back into form. Get the ball, get rid of it, get used to it again, right? Get used to playing gameplay again. But Sanchez is still trying to play the same way when he was in his kind of hot streak, and nothing's coming off.
He was coming too deep last night, I felt, because he wants to get on the ball and get going. They all wanted the ball. You can't fault them. None of them hid. None of the top players hid. They all wanted the ball. They all wanted to show how good they are. And Monaco just shut it down. But that's okay, because if your forwards take the chances when they come, you'll get through it. And if the defenders don't evacuate and leave massive gaps in your own half, you won't concede. But we did both of those things. We did everything wrong.
I've got two scenarios. I'm not sure what's going to happen in this. Whether we're going to go 1-0 up, and then Koscielny's going to bundle one in the 64th minute.
We're going to win by one goal. We're going to win by one goal over there.
Yeah. But will they get... I'm not sure if they're going to get...
on that.
I'm not sure. Are they going to get a breakaway in the 88th minute once we've won 2-0? Yeah. So we're 2-0 up, 87th minute, and then they get one. Is it that script? Or are we going to get the early goal? We're going to get a Koscielny fist pump, and then we're going to get another one in the 86th minute, and then it's going to... I mean, which script is it?
They were olaying.
Oh,
at the Emirates.
How was Damien there? Yes, he was.
It all hurt because sure. Someone sent me a tweet saying Highbury didn't die for this, and I thought that is a T-shirt. It's on. I retweeted it. We're at Yellow Boots on his Twitter feed. Highbury didn't die for this, and I thought something has never hit home so hard as that. I'm sitting in this. What is this place? Where is the North Bank? Where's our end? We sit on the other side from where we sit are the away fans. Every single week they're having a party over there. Even if they're losing, they're loving it. They've got a great view. They're enjoying themselves. And our corner, what can we generate? What atmosphere can we generate? And this was a side who aren't the top level in Europe. So there was a nervousness in the crowd thinking we should win this. We know this is the draw we've dreamed of. We've been waiting 2 months for this fixture. And so there wasn't a pumped up, come on, Barcelona feel. Yeah, it was more like, we should win this. What do you think? Oh no! And then we let one in, and the air went out the balloon. The players' heads dropped. The crowd doesn't help. Highbury helped. Highbury helped us. We didn't have so many humiliations at Highbury, and the Emirates doesn't help us. It's a crap hole. I can't stand it. We should have had a North Bank. We should have had a proper home end, somewhere where the seats are cheap, where local people come in, where it's a proper buoyant atmosphere that's different from the rest of the ground, where it isn't just a kind of corporate sanitised. The whole thing is summed up. Our bench. And the way the technical area is, and the lack of fist-pumping enthusiasm and commitment to the cause leads the whole stadium. We don't have that atmosphere in our ground.
Haven't we been told that?
People take the mickey out of us for years, Highbury Library and all this sort of thing. And we don't, clubs in the south don't have the vocal support of clubs in the north. That's traditionally been the case. But still, there's no need for that to be engineered out of the stadium completely so that you just build a theatre. We should have had a home end with cheap seats. We should be and in that home end, we should be at the forefront for the campaign, which the Football Supporters Federation now says has 96% of support from fans for safe standing. And we could have a proper end there so that you look to them, banners, flags, noise. And when their goalkeeper's taking a goal kick, he's terrified. So you've got something, but we sit in this sanitised arena, which costs 400 million quid, and we watch our pampered stars flop, and we're supposed to go home with our massively expensive season tickets and shrug our shoulders and come back for it again next year. It gets increasingly difficult.
London Colney's the same, though, isn't it? I mean, we talked about the calm is totally intended from top to bottom. I mean, we've been told that by people, by some of the players.
It's like a yoga retreat.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a spa in Bali up there, basically.
They said to me, Parla, I had several pints with Parla and Keown on Monday, and that's one of my favourite sentences that I've ever said out loud. They're two fantastic blokes. I mean, Parla, what a great bloke. He was really, really good company.
He really deserved his place.
He's doing a book, and he's going, I don't know. I don't know what stories I should put in it. I said, Raimundo, put them all in. Put all the stories in, because we will all buy the book. because, I didn't say this to him, I'm going to blow smoke up his ass, but you are one of the most loved of all ex-Arsenal players. He told me a story about Igor Stepanovs was on a trial match. I wish I was wearing a wire all night, because I can't remember much of it, because I had about several pints of some fine stout. But Igor Stepanovs is in a trial match, and he's sitting on the touchline parlour with Bergkamp and a couple of the others. And Keown's there as well. And they're trying to wind up Keown because he's wind-upable, right? And he's coming towards the end, and there's a young centre-back come in, and it's his shirt on the line, if this kid's good. So everything Stepanovs does, they're going, nice one, Igor! Look at that pass. Good header, son. And Bergkamp's leading it because he says he's cheeky and funny. You hear this about Dennis, despite being the Iceman. He's got a mischievous sense of humour. And Keown starts to bite, right? Starts to go, well, he missed that tackle. So they know they've got him on the run, so they start doing it some more. And they're having a good laugh. Anyway, a couple of weeks later or whatever, he goes up to London Colney and there's Igor Stepanovs in the changing room. And he goes to him, what are you doing here? And he goes, I've got a 4-year contract. He goes, oh, shit. That's all because the boss heard Dennis Bergkamp singing his praises, which he was only doing to wind up Keown. And then we ended up with this centre half who, frankly, wasn't good enough.
Was he?
He told several stories like that. I loved it.
Who was it that he was calling out to? Which
Perez. I stood at the bar with Ray, Rob the chef, who's a great bloke, who does all. He told me a story about cooking lunch in Donetsk, which was hilarious. And Lois Langton, who came with me, from the Sports Association, and Parlour, and sitting at a table was Bobby Perez, dreamy Bobby Perez, with his stupidly beautiful wife, and another very beautiful woman that turned out to be Mrs. Jens Lehmann. And Jens Lehmann was at the bar, being tall and German and buying pints. Sal Campbell was there.
Not buying pints.
Lauren was there, right? Lauren was there. But all the time, Parlour was telling stories and drinking lager and telling stories and being just great company. And he kept turning around and going, Robert! And the Robert would turn around and then he wouldn't really say anything to him. He'd say, hey, isn't it though? And Perez would go, oh, yeah, right. And it was absolutely brilliant. And then Keown came over and he was talking about, wanting to be the coaching and a few things about Arsene having it all locked down over there and the other coaches. And because I was saying, why aren't you all back there? Where's Vieira? Where are you? And and it's an interesting thing. It's the manager's club, and it's the manager's cut-out figure in the programme. It's the cult of Arsene.
It's interesting how often you hear about the ones who do want to come back, and funny enough, the one who will end up coming back will be Thierry, and
Baldy's in there.
Players.
Keown said that Arsene keeps saying to him, "You have to sacrifice your life." This is the doubt that Arsene has, I suspect, about anyone who wants to be a coach. Never mind a coach at the top level at Arsenal. Are they going to, as he puts it, sacrifice their life? This running joke that Amy Lawrence put in the paper again yesterday, that Arsene only knows the route from the house to the training ground to the stadium, and he's lived in London 18 years and he can't give you any advice on anywhere to go because he lives a monk-like devoted existence to Arsenal, and that's what he feels. Anyone who wants to be with him has to be like that.
And with that in mind, it makes it harder to kind of whatever you think of him and his tactics and so on, to kind of stomach the kind of opprobrium that's around, because he has given.
My feeling with Arsene is Arsene has earned the right to leave the club on his own terms. That's my feeling about Arsene Wenger. He's earned that right in the way that Alex Ferguson did at Manchester United and Brian Clough did at Nottingham Forest. Ferguson left United as champions.
And Clough didn't.
And the mistake he made was he anointed the wrong successor. Yeah. Possibly.
But equally...
Possibly. Although that's really, the jury's out on Moyes, actually. Because I think the players let him down and he was booted early. Because look at Louis van Gaal, the same sort of record with massive spend. So Moyes plus 100 million and no better. So the jury's, I think it's unfair that Moyes is regarded as an utter failure. But that aside, the other one was Clough, who didn't leave Forest as champions. He left them relegated and left them a year too late. And by then, by all accounts, he was having a bit too much of the booze and he'd lost his way a bit in the dressing room. And that was a real shame because it was a slightly tainted legacy. That's not going to happen with Arsene. He's not going to leave Arsenal relegated, nowhere near it. But also, I don't think he's going to leave Arsenal as champions. That's what's killing you. And if we're with all that we've got now, I mean, I think, if you get Schneiderlin or Kondogbia or someone like that in central midfield next season, keep your fingers crossed that we don't all get injured. The other thing that was interesting that Keown was saying, and he talked, is about the training pitches. He said the training pitches are supposed to be pristine, right? Then they have this compound, sort of part artificial, part grass, which is the same at the Emirates. So the pitches are immaculate, like a billiard table all year round. But he says they're hard. They're hard pitches. There's not a lot of give, and he thinks it contributes to the injury situation. And there's just little bits of insight like that are now coming back to me through the fog of stout and last night's red wine.
I remember when we met Keown, when we did that the Q&A, when you did it a couple of years ago, and he was talking about Giroud. And Keown talks brilliantly about the game.
Yeah, he does.
And he was going on about Giroud and his...
It was Koscielny.
Was it?
He was talking about Koscielny, his starting position for headers. He was talking about, really technically about the physical position that you take to get a jump for a header so that you don't use too much energy all the time physically. It was fascinating.
He was also talking about, I remember that one as well, but he was also talking about Giroud and squats and not being strong enough in his side, because as a centre-half, and he did the pose and everything, as a centre-half, he spent most of the game crouched.
Yeah.
And he wasn't strong enough to maintain that level. Yeah, for the whole game. 90 minutes of pretty high intensity, unnatural position, and that's why Sol Campbell was, because Sol Campbell's got the biggest arse in history.
Strongest man alive.
Well, yeah, but
Sol's here. He cuts an impressive figure.
Brooding.
I don't think there's anyone in England who could push him out of the way. If he's in front of you in the queue.
If Idris Elba can't do the next episode of Luther, the next series of Luther, then I think Sol Campbell's got a part.
Oh, what a centre-back he was. At his best. He was the best. Even though he couldn't pass for toffee.
And he's won the double.
But it's interesting though, going back to what you're saying about Ferguson, because I don't know if he controlled Manchester United in the same way that Wenger controls every aspect of Arsenal. But it kind of makes sense, going back to this idea of everybody thinking in the same way and having the same mentality and knowing where they sat, that when Ferguson was removed from the scenario, whichever manager's been in place, to a certain extent, things have collapsed. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with Arsenal, because, I know we're off the back of a bad defeat, but I don't think there's any doubt that we've, overperformed over the last 16 years or whatever it is, compared to the resources we've had, the players we've got, injuries, blah, blah, blah. So, if Wenger going might make things worse.
It's just that is the great unquantifiable, isn't it? And now, in the last 2 years, we're in a different place to where we have been. The difference is we're not vulnerable to predators after our players, which is the annual case over Henry or Vieira or whoever it was. And we have quite a strong bench because players will stay because the wages are good and there's big players coming in. It feels like a good place to be. So we're in a good place as a club, financially, the playing staff. It's set up, the ground, they've cocked it up, but, that's what it is. And we're in a good place to kick on. Who's the right person to lead that? Who's the right person? And because we're the only person who's going to tell you that is Arsene Wenger. He's going to decide when he stays or when he goes.
But with all of that, like you say, now the playing field is more level, isn't it? It's never going to be level when you've got two billionaires. But you also can argue that we've completely run out of excuses.
And ideas. The thing that gets me, we were talking about this beforehand, our general level at the football club is exceptionally high. I mean, it is, there's too much mockery of, they're finishing fourth again. Try it. Try finishing top four. Have a go at it. See if you can do that. Fans from other clubs, you only want to finish fourth. No, we don't want to finish fourth, we want to finish first. But it's really, really hard finishing fourth. Never mind third, never mind second. The only teams above us are Chelsea and Manchester City. Have you any idea of the resources that have been squandered on those clubs by billionaires? I mean, it is ridiculous. You take the billionaires out of it, and there we are challenging for the title yet again, as we would have been every year for the last 10 years. It's not fair, okay? It's financial doping. Maybe we should have got Usmanov to do the same for us. I don't know. It's all ifs and buts and maybes. The ownership of the club went to Kroenke, and that was the end of that. But that's our general level. The disappointment and the issue and the problem is when you lock horns with a rival at the same level, who comes out on top? When it's really important, when it's the Olympic final, when it's the Wimbledon final, when it's Djokovic at the other end. Those ones, the really nailed-on, mentally tough ones, the Djokovic's and the Federers, Tiger Woods at his best, they just flatten you. You look round, you see them, and you think, I'm going to lose. We don't do that to anybody. We look them in the eye, and when it comes to a big night and they think it's Arsenal, we'll be all right. We just exist at this very, very high level of outstanding technical ability, huge resources, but we can't duke it out in those big games. We go under.
And is that who... And can that be...
Who can stop that? Who can do that?
Changed?
Jose Mourinho can handle that. He loves that. Oh, and whether it's just out and out front, whether he's actually on the inside just as terrified as everybody else of losing. Pep Guardiola can do it.
I suspect not. By the way, talk about making mincemeat of the FA.
Oh,
that ban, reducing the ban from 3 games to 2 games, 2 games with Matic.
And still complaining about it.
Yeah. That's front. That's front, my friend.
What about that guy, the Bayern Munich coach who was in his 60s, who turned up and took them to the next level? So Pep Guardiola came in and went, tough act to follow. How can they do it? Why are these people able to just knock them on to the next level? We're there. Is it just that we bought the wrong people, that we needed leaders in central midfield?
You talk about Kondogbia or whatever. I think we can see by now that Arsenal does not want that type of midfielder. We never get them. Yeah. We'll get a technical, ball-playing, a better Arteta.
We need Kondogbia. Or someone like that. Physically powerful, with an aptitude for winning the ball back. You put him in central midfield.
You love a Wanyama as well,
with Francis Coquelin. I'm not sure about Wanyama because he's got no pace. But with Francis Coquelin, who was tigerish last night and committed and impressive again, and took his substitution well, sprinted off the pitch. Got a good character, that kid. And he started to grow into the game. He was demanding the ball off Cazorla and chipping balls out to the wings and trying to express himself.
I think he got
frustrated.
I think he got hooked because he almost definitely would have got a second yellow. Thinking about on the break.
But also he got hooked, didn't he? Because Chamberlain offers a goal threat, and that paid off.
And the yellow, talking about chances, like the yellow, by the way, that Bellerin took, because that guy was going straight through the middle of the centre halves before Bellerin pulled him back. That would have been...
That one I question. I thought that bloke was thinking, please foul me. Please foul me. I've gone a long way. I've carried this ball a long way. Oh, he's pulled my shirt, and then he threw himself to the ground.
I think I was pretty pleased with that one. Bellerin, because Bellerin's the quickest on the team. We keep hearing that, but yeah, he took him out at a decent place on the pitch.
All we can do on this podcast is talk round and round and round, which we've done for years. And the only issue at our football club, is Arsene Wenger the right man to lead this? He's taken the club to here. Yeah. Is he the right man to kick it up to challenge in Chelsea and Manchester City? That means probably investing in a bit more nous, canny, match-winning nous, in the form of 1 or 2 players in central midfield and central defence, I thought. And I would... my lighter spinner, but I'd like a monster keeper. I don't know, Fraser Forster comes to mind, but a monster goalkeeper. Bit of an issue with Chesney, and the issue, I don't know, there's all kinds of whispers about them. They're not happy with the goalkeeping coaching at Arsenal, and Chesney hasn't improved since he was 20, and one or two things like that, which I don't like to hear, because Chesney, I thought, got bigged up early on because he was better than Almunia. He hasn't come on in the last few years, and that's a bit of a worry.
I think because David De Gea is like the same sort of age and has clearly improved exponentially over that period.
David De Gea.
Yeah.
He's truly brilliant goalkeeper, isn't he, De Gea?
Chesney will get back into the team before the end of the season. Clearly. I don't know if that's was always the intention. Maybe...
Is there a noise in my head, or is there a Hoover? Thank God, it's a Hoover.
Chesney will be back in the team for. I was going to say the quarterfinals.
We all thought we were going to the quarterfinals. The team thought they were as well.
Well, I've just booked tickets. You'll like this, Ollie. I've just booked tickets at Barbican to see Simandi.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, but unfortunately, and Osibisa, they're supporting as well. But unfortunately, it's the same day as the semi-finals of the first leg of the semi-final. Yeah, I wasn't thinking.
Well, we're recording episodes of QI, both legs of the semi-finals. And yesterday morning, I was going, I can't believe this. Why don't they look at the fixtures?
They do look at the fixtures.
They do look at the fixtures, and they think, he's not that bothered about Real Madrid against Bayern Munich.
Yeah, they kept you free for the second. They kept you free for the second round.
So let's talk about Barcelona, because rumours of their demise appear to have been
Greatly
exaggerated.
That kit's horrible, though.
The kit was vile. And it's one of the things I hate about football now is that for commercial reasons you have to wear a stupid kit instead of turning up at the Etihad in Barcelona strip. It's embarrassing for them, shameful actually, that they carry Qatar on their shirts. But there is the fingers of Qatar go everywhere in football, don't they? But that aside, their football was just stunning, really stunning. We've been talking about the Champions League since we qualified and since we got the draw. Thinking, people have been saying, I think this year we could come off it. As soon as it started, and I saw Barcelona take Manchester City apart in that opening half an hour.
Messi's still got it, hasn't he?
Still got it.
There was one moment when a ball looped up. He was standing virtually on the byline at Manchester City, near Manchester City's goal, and he's thinking that ball's going out of play. But then it dropped sort of onto the byline. No, it's impossible to control. Messi pulled it down, turned around, and suddenly his immediate threat to their goal. I mean, no one knows how he can do it. There's a couple of moments last night when Ozil just failed to pull a ball out of the air, and I'm watching him thinking, you are world class, but Messi's better than you.
There was one moment when Danny Welbeck was trying to pull the ball out of the air, and I did shout, "Surprise me!" Surprise me! And
Danny put a shift. I like that. Let's not talk about it.
But it was.
I can't do it. It's too upsetting.
It's quite unusual. It's quite unusual to see a player sent off against Barcelona, though. So that was.
Barcelona get 2 up. They get 2 up, and their games. That's enough. They're pleased with that at half time. Man City get frustrated, but they have got Aguero. So they've got someone on that level.
Lovely goal.
Bang, goal. He gets one. You can always get one. I love him. He's fantastic, Aguero. Right? He should be playing for them, really. He gets one, and then they look at one another and think, well, it's time to... I mean, you can almost see him locking up a suitcase.
Danny!
This game's over. We're taking 2-1.
Alves just stretches his shoulders and then gets
they
ready
get
to
one
get
sent
fouled.
off. Clichy was an idiot. 2 silly tackles, but probably wouldn't be sent off against any other club. But it's Barcelona. The moment you get touched, you scream. Everyone's around the ref.
He's straight back on the body talk, isn't he? I mean, imagine the hairs.
Yeah, he was.
The hairs. He's back.
Yeah.
Anyway, they get the red, and then the weird penalty miss at the end, where the world seemed to shift on its axis as Messi missed an open goal from 5 yards.
Yeah.
But that was a masterclass.
It was funny seeing Bakary come on, wasn't it?
And be absolutely shit.
I think one of my favourite pictures, you mentioned it a couple of pods ago, is the Bakary
Sanya heat map.
Yeah.
Manchester City nil Arsenal 2.
That's just fantastic.
And the heat map is just the blur on the bench.
So I was thinking.
Well done, whoever did that.
I was thinking about Vermaelen though, like watching Barcelona when Sanya came on. He's just like
he's still injured, no?
I think
Still
he's
injured.
Is he out forever?
Still injured.
Is that it?
He's
Is his career over?
Here's a phrase we hear often. He's had an injury setback.
And now it's your injury setback, your problem.
That was some good trolling by Wenger, though, wasn't it? To sell him.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see Gabriel any quicker? I mean, Per didn't have a great. Per's his captain though, right?
Did you go to Crystal Palace?
Yeah.
How did he look, Gabriel?
He only came on for the last few minutes.
Do anything.
He came on for the last few minutes. Palace was great fun. Sellers Park was great.
Terrible pitch, brilliant fun.
We got squashed going in, we got squashed coming out. It was noisy. We had to stand up. The bloke in front of me kept farting and stinking out the whole Arthur Waite stand. And then there was an American guy behind me who said, "Was that you? That's you! You did that!" No, I didn't, mate. And if you keep speaking in that voice, someone's going to assassinate you. And he gave a commentary throughout the match. And I went out at half time, and when I came back, Keith said to me, I had a word with that bloke. I said to him, who are you working for? Then NBC, is it? What? Because you seem to be commentating on the whole game.
Shut down by Keith.
But we had a nice, got a couple of goals and then kept him at arm's length quite well, trying to get a third. Nearly got the third, and then
a lovely bit of
and then the Sky came in.
When Ozil passed to himself, that was just beautiful.
Yeah, interestingly, when Ozil got pulled off at 15 minutes to go, 2-0 with a Champions League game on the Wednesday, seems like a smart move. Rumblings of discontent. Did you pick that up, T? Around us. Rumblings of discontent in the away support. There's a sizable contingent in the away support who've had their fill of the management, and they like Ozil, and they didn't like the substitution, and that they took the opportunity. There was a small window of opportunity to have a dig at the management, and they seized it. And there was a bit of booing and grumbling about it. And it was interesting to be in that, because we don't go to many away games these days.
If we had if they'd hit the post with 5 more minutes to go, then I think then we would have had a bit more.
They nearly saved themselves.
Discontent as well.
What a ball that was from Balassi.
Yeah, incredible.
But yeah, no, there was anger in the crowd, and we're here. This is where we are now until Arsene Wenger decides he's going to stand down. This is how we're going to play, and whether he strengthens with the right player recruitment in the summer, and we're able to go to the next level. We've lost 6 Premier League games, some of them bad, stupid defeats. And you think we can't challenge for the title like that. You look at it, when we've gone on a good little run of results, we got 3 points at Palace, suddenly we're in 3rd place, and you do start looking above you. You think Chelsea are coming to our place.
Man City are catchable.
This would be a good thing, you know. The first time he beats Mourinho is this season. And then you think, that conversation, we're 12 behind, and that's because of stupid defeats, and we should be challenging.
That conversation sounds a lot like, no, we'll go to Old Trafford, and this time,
we have had injury issues. We lost Giroud, we lost Ozil, Walcott. We lost people. Last night, though, just another little thing before we knock it on the head. I thought I would like to have Podolski around last night, because I tell you for why, right? When we're buzzing the ball about and we look good and we look secure, and if there's one thing he's good for, it's smashing it in the net. Any of those chances that were bouncing around the 6-yard box that got blazed over the bar, or Welbeck put one that hit Walcott, didn't it, and went over the bar. I mean, rank bad luck, really. Podolski is busting the net with it. Probably would have bagged himself a couple of goals.
Is he playing? Is he playing at the moment?
Don't know. Don't follow it. Can't be bothered with Italian football. It's so boring.
But we've got what will happen. You know, the only other most Wengerish manager is coming on Sunday, because we got Martinez.
They can't defend anymore, Everton, so he should be all right. But you know, he's loaned out, Podolski. He's loaned out, so you sent them all away, and when it's not really working for Giroud and he hooks him, you're looking on the bench, hang on a minute.
Disappointed not to see Sonogo at Palace. I was really looking forward to that.
Palace fans are saying, looking. I went there to drink with a few of them before the game, and they're looking at me and saying, thanks very much. I said, you noticed.
Why do you have those 2 programmes?
Because, thank you for reminding me, the Monaco programme is because I wanted to show you the Arsene Wenger cut-out figure. The Stoke City programme is because I wanted to read you the final word, but I don't even know if I've got the sense of humour to do it anymore. In Final Word, which is a feature in the Matchday programme, which Silent Chris tells me is available on the iPhone for 79p, written by a fan, and the fan is a 17-year-old Polish kid. Somebody did say to me, well, not the one we signed. No, not him. And this is him talking about the FA Cup. My beloved football club showed the ability to stand up, admit failure, and strive forward is a backbone of every success story. It goes without saying that thanks to this victorious attitude, Arsenal finally managed to break their inferiority syndrome by winning the FA Cup in May 2014. My elation was beyond description. I felt as if my life was fully shaped again, and most importantly, it only confirmed my belief that if one never stops, success and glory are inherent elements of their future. I mean, it goes on and on and on like this. 17-year-old Polish kid. It is superbly comical. People ask me why I put my support for the Arsenal above my mental well-being. Well,
we all know that one.
This is the question that we've all asked ourselves in the last 24 hours. For me, the answer has always been easy. Arsenal has made me who I am now, opened my eyes to the world, given me extreme opportunities to explore the globe, meet new people and involve in the community. Therefore, my gratitude is beyond description, and I will never forget how this club has transformed my life. And at that point, he's put in a straitjacket. And he's unable to continue typing. But it seemed a lot funnier before. Before now, it just all seems prescient.
Before the Monaco game.
And he says his favourite player is Tony Adams, who stopped playing before he was born. So I don't understand it.
YouTube.
Yeah. Anyway, the season continues.
See you on Sunday.
All of the fixtures look thoroughly uninviting.
It's a good job you're off then.
We can. What do you want to happen in the League Cup final?
Sinkhole.
Because that would take that.
It'd take Wembley.
Carsey of a stadium with it. A massive sinkhole opens up. That would be good. Tottenham play Fiorentina tonight away, and then they've got a final against Chelsea on Sunday.
The lesser of the two evils is
desperately unfair.
Chelsea winning it. Yeah, it's Chelsea winning a trophy they don't care about. Really. Did you see that you can get from the Tottenham website, should you so wish, a party pack? They were doing party packs.
I saw that.
You can get mugs, you can get banners, you could order in a party pack for you in your own living room.
I don't know if that's symptomatic of something at Tottenham, or if that's just generally how shit football is now.
Yeah, what's that? Yeah,
back in the day, they wouldn't even have bothered trying to sell that to anyone.
I'm saying that while looking at a cardboard cutout of our manager on the table in front of you.
We put a cardboard cutout of the manager in the programme. I mean, really? That's what we did on Champions League night, last 16. Before we were humiliated on our own ludicrously expensive pitch.
Oh. Highbury didn't die for this.
Highbury did not die. The whole thing's killing me. But of course, suckers we are. I'll see you on Sunday.
See you on Sunday.
See you, mate.